Good morning, class. Today we are going to practice a little bit more with our compare versus contrast. So just a reminder, compare is when we have items that are the same, qualities that are the same, etc. Contrast is when we have those different qualities. Just another thing, remember we need two or more items to compare and contrast. And then anything can be compared or contrasted. People, places, things, really anything that has those qualities. Our Venn diagram is the tool that we use to compare and contrast our two items. So we always draw two circles that have an intersection in the middle. One side we put one item, the other side we put the other item, and then in the middle we label as similarities, differences, or things that are specific or unique to each item go on the outside bigger circles, and then similarities or things that are the same for each item go in the middle circle. So here's an example. We have dogs on one side, fish on the other side. Dogs have 4 legs, fur, and live on land. Fish live in the water, have fins and scales. However, both are animals, both can be pets, and both eat food. So let's take a minute to think of some other examples or some other qualities that dogs and fish have, or some other similarities that they may have. So compare and contrast can be used in many different ways. One way that it can be used is in reading. So we can compare characters, we can compare stories, we can compare the plot, we can compare anything in reading that, as long as it is two different things. So today we are going to read Tanya's Money Problem. I will read pages 1 through 8 aloud while you guys follow along in your copy. I want you to be thinking of similarities and differences between Tanya and Thad. We're going to make a Venn diagram after we get through pages 1 through 8. So be thinking of jotting down those similarities and differences while I am reading and you are following along. Tanya and Thad Fredrickson are twins. Most people think they look alike, but that's where the similarity ends. While Tanya is outgoing and has lots of friends, Thad is shy and has only a couple of good friends. Thad is a good student who works hard to get high grades. Tanya, on the other hand, is an average student who does just enough to get by. Like most kids, Tanya likes to buy things. Thad does too, but not nearly as much as his sister does. Both Tanya and Thad earn money each week by doing jobs around the house, as well as for a couple of neighbors. At home, Thad washes dishes, cleans up the table after dinner, sweeps the floor, and vacuums the carpets each week. Tanya washes dishes, mows the lawn, and takes out the trash. Thad also mows the lawn for 2 neighbors each week, while Tanya walks a neighbor's dog every morning and evening. Their incomes are good. Each of them earns an average of about $35 a week. Thad and Tanya like doing the work because they both love money. The money they earn pays for going to the movies and buying things like snacks, books, magazines, and clothes. Thad spends money on video games, and Tanya buys music and clothes every week. The cash that Thad earns seems to be more than enough to take care of his needs. He also seems to need a lot less stuff than Tanya does. Thad usually deposits about half the money he earns each week into a savings account. When Thad saves enough money, he uses some of it to buy shares of stock. Owning a share of stock is like owning a piece of a company. So far, Thad owns 25 shares of stock in Disney and 28 shares of stock in Nintendo. Since Thad loves going to Disney movies, watching Disney Channel, and playing electronic games, as do most of his friends, he thought Disney and Nintendo would be good investments. After doing some internet research on stocks and talking to his parents, he concluded that these companies were good choices. Thad likes to buy stock because his money grows as each share of stock increases in value. Over time, he expects to see the value of each share go up 20% or 30%. When Disney and Nintendo earn more money than they spend, the companies sometimes pay dividends to the people who own their stocks. Thad has earned yearly dividends for each share of stock he owns. He always reinvests his dividends into each company's stock and uses the money to buy more shares. If you ask Thad, he would tell you that he plans to be a millionaire by the time he's 25. Now Tanya is another story. Where Thad is a saver, Tanya is a spender. Money burns a hole in her pocket, and she spends almost all her money each week and never saves a nickel. Tanya's spending problem is made worse by the fact that she really wants her own smartphone. She thinks she earns enough money to pay a monthly phone bill for calls and texting. She knows she might have to cut back her spending on clothes and music. She may even have to earn more money by walking dogs for other neighbors, but she thinks she can afford it. However, Tanya can't seem to save the $200 it takes to buy the phone. So here I have an empty Venn diagram of Tanya and Thad. Let's talk a little bit about what some similarities, some differences that you guys came up with. We'll compare and contrast a little bit. So raise your hand if you have a similarity or a difference. All right, here are the differences or the unique things to Tanya that we came up with. She's outgoing, has lots of friends. She's an average student. She washes dishes, mows the lawn, takes out the trash, walks a neighbor's dog for her jobs. She spends her money on music and clothes, and she's a spender, not a saver. Here are the unique things to Thad. He is shy and has only a couple friends. He's a good student. He washes windows, cleans up after dinner, sweeps and vacuums, mows for neighbors for his jobs. He spends his money on video games, and he is a saver and not a spender. And the similarities we came up with are they're twins, they look alike, they like to buy things, and they both earn an average of $35 a week. All right, I would like you guys to independently read pages 8 through 20. And when you come up with some additional similarities or differences, come up to the smartboard and write down any extras that you have thought of. And I will be walking around the classroom, checking to see if you need help, have any questions, etc. So go ahead and read the next pages. All right, so after this, we will go over all of these new ideas that you guys put up on the smartboard, and we will place them in the right spot on our chart that we have written down. So for our independent practice today, I want you to compare and contrast your money spending habits with either Tanya or Thad. So you can choose. I want you to make a Venn diagram. So remember, put your name on one side, the character's name on the other side, and then similarities in the middle. And then I want you to spend some time completing that Venn diagram. So spend quite a couple minutes thinking about which character you might be more different to. So you have things to put in your category that you might be more unique. When you are finished, I want you to return to your desk, and then we will split into two groups. So the students who compared to Thad will go to one side of the classroom. Students who compared to Tanya will go to the other, and then you will share your Venn diagrams and compare those with other students. And you will turn them into me when you are finished. So go ahead and work on that Venn diagram.